Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and welcome to another episode in our Destination of the Month series. What is the Destination of the Month? I'm glad you asked that question. The Destination of the Month is something that we do over at Mac Air. It's essentially, it's not a competition, but more like an event where a destination is chosen each month, and anybody who wants to participate attempts to fly into that destination. It's not really something that's just unique to Mac Air. I just want to point that out. Lots of different virtual airlines do something similar to the Destination of the Month. And what we do over at Mac Air is if you, when you fly into the Destination of the Month, you post a link to your pilot report in the forums so that the staff can verify that you flew into that destination, and you get credit for it. And then at the end of the year, whoever has flown into every Destination of the Month for the year gets a badge that they can put in their signature on the forums and so on. So it's kind of a cool little event, something that's fun to do, and we try to pick unique destinations or sometimes popular destinations. In this case, where we're going to fly today is into LPMA, or the infamous Madeira Airport, I believe is how you say it. Quite a famous little approach there. Not that the approach in itself is overly difficult, but that the location of the airport, right on the sea and basically slammed up against the side of the mountain there, makes for some really wild winds and some pretty crazy approaches. And there's some great videos out there from plane spotters in the area of aircraft coming in and just really fighting and having a tough time with the winds. So really excited about this one. I did pick up, I believe it's Aerosoft makes the Madeira scenery. And this is, of course, for the P3D version 4. And then with that also, we are going to be flying our Captain Sim 757 version 3 today. And I want to announce that I just found out this morning that they released their first hotfix / update to the aircraft. There have been a lot of complaints about a lot of things, the engine spool up and all kinds of other stuff. Including the GSX pushback we experienced, how that would cause it to not work properly during our live stream, and so on and so forth. All kinds of crazy little stuff. And so, anyway, the I'm off in 3 different worlds right now, guys. My apologies. So the update is released. I've installed the update. I also made sure that I did the update to my what do you call it there? Come on, brain work. My FS Dream Team stuff, so that hopefully we don't have the pushback issue with GSX. I will note that when I started the sim, the aircraft engines were not running, but it was not cold and dark either, so I don't know if that's a negative indication of anything or not. We're going to find out when we go to start the engines. Now, there is a full flight tutorial available on this aircraft. You can see the link popping up in the top right hand corner of your screen there, probably hidden a little bit by the Mac Air watermark logo, but either way, if you click on that little I button up there, that's for information, and that'll take you to the full flight tutorial for the Captain Sim 757, and it'll show you how to get it into the state that it is in now, so that you'll know how to power up the aircraft and all of that good stuff. So for us, we're going to hop in here. We've already got the passengers loaded. I was trying to time it so that they were loading while we were talking, but it didn't seem to work out too well. So it is what it is, not that big a deal. So what I'm going to do real quick here is hit Shift and 3 to pop this guy up. I'm going to close the cargo doors while we're hidden behind the building here, and we'll close that entry door as well. And there we go, right through the building. You gotta love the way scenery works. And then we'll leave the wheel chocks in place for now. Hit Shift and 3 again, and that'll get all the trucks out of the way. And what do you say we hop on the flight deck and fire this bad boy up? Alrighty folks, here we are on the flight deck, and I'm hoping that Captain Sim has addressed some of the major bugs in this aircraft, especially the crash to desktop issues. I ran into a couple of those myself. They said in the update notes that they fixed some of the crash to desktop issues while working with the FMC, so hopefully we don't run into any of those, because that's where we're going to be starting out with the FMC flight planning. So hop down here, and you can see we've got our model here, 757-200, and of course I have to fly the 757 into Madeira anyway. It's either that or the A330, and I haven't done the full flight tutorial on that yet because Black Box has lots of bugs to fix there still, especially the one where as soon as your wheels touch down on landing, the nose just like jumps straight up in the air and the aircraft tries to take off again. I can't stand that one. Drives me absolutely insane. And until that's fixed in all of their aircraft, I probably won't be flying black box anymore. So that's unfortunate, but you know, I actually had a bit of a discussion in the comment section with somebody who's a very adamant detractor from black box, and I understand where he's coming from. My experience with them has been mostly positive, and that's the point that I made in my videos. However, I will argue in favor of what he's saying. They're very slow for their updates, and that's very disappointing. I'd like to see those updates get out there much quicker. Folks have paid money for those aircraft. Of course, now I didn't pay for my A320, so I can't really complain there, but I did pay for my A330, A340, and so I am a paying customer with black box, and just like any other paying customer, I would like to see those updates get done sometime in the near future. So enough about that. The point here is it was either this one or the A330, because, you know, we flew the 737 in our last destination of the month, and, you know, hey, we've got the Captain Sim 757, and what do you say? Let's give it a go, right? I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. So we're going to fly the 757. I'm in a bit of a babbling mood, so that may go on for a little while during this video. But anyway, here we are. We got our 757 Pratt & Whitney 2037 engines, and our current nav data cycle is looking good. So we go to position initialization. I've already aligned the IRS. I don't need to put the reference airport in here. I didn't note, you should have seen the pop-up, but we are flying from Glasgow, EGPF, down to Madeira. So it's about a 4-hour flight. Should be a good time. And let's jump over to our route. Now, I did save the route in here, right? EGPF to LPMA. Supposedly this is one of the issues they fixed in, I think maybe it was my last video, or maybe it was the full flight tutorial when we flew to Lowy. I'm drawing a blank on everything today. Just, you know what? Give me 5 seconds here. Let me gather myself. Let me get it together. Innsbruck is the word I'm looking for, or the name rather. When we flew into Innsbruck, we noted that there was, even though we had the route saved in here, we had to redo the whole thing. So we're about to find out if that still applies. So let's click on this one right here. You can see it put EGPF LPMA in there. It put runway 23 as our departure runway. I'll have to double check the weather again here shortly, but I'm pretty sure that is correct. So we should be good there. Flight number for us, we're just going to go with MAC 2336. I know it's not the appropriate flight number for those of you who want to beat me up. It's not the end of the world, right? And then if we go to the next page here, see, that's not fixed, guys. It says cannot read, cannot read, cannot read. That is not fixed, okay? Absolutely not fixed. So hopefully somebody from CapSim is watching this. I'll make sure when I make this video public, today is the 18th of January. I'll make sure, I'll try and make this public in the next couple of days, hopefully, and I will point out, or I will post this on Facebook and tag Captain Mac, or Captain Sim in it, and hopefully you guys will know. So there it is, guys. The route function is still not working properly. So this is with the hotfix that you guys released either today or yesterday. So today, again, January 18th, and it's not working. So we're gonna have to do this on our own. I think we can get rid of all of these if I remember correctly. Let's go to departure arrival. Start with our departure page here. So runway 23, I believe is correct. I'll go ahead and double check the weather right now. And yes, runway 23 should be the runway. The wind is 230, so that's going to be just about perfect. And we're going to be taking the turn 3A, I think is maybe how you say it. So that should be down here, turn 3A. That's going to be our departure. No transition on that. And then again, if we go to our route, next page, so now it's got turn 3A in there out to TRN. And then that's going to take us next to Degos, D-E-G-O-S. So we've seen this many times, so if you're going direct, you just put it on this side. And then from Degos, it's EVBAK, E-V-B-A-K. E-V-B-A-K. And again, it's direct, so we just put it on this side. And then Tamil, T-A-M-E-L. And from Tamil, it is Airway Tango 213. And again, anytime we're doing an airway, we put it on this side, and then it gives us boxes over here, and that goes out to Barrux, B-E-R-U-X. Fill in the boxes. We'll go to the next page. And then we've got direct to PK, I guess. PETEK. Right there. And then direct to OBESA, OBESA. And I'm sure I'm saying some of these wrong, but that's alright. And then LIDRO, LIDRO. And that one's going to go there. And then that'll take us on to our arrival. So, let's go departure arrival again. And our arrival is going to be LIDRO 1 Charlie. This one here. And we are absolutely going to be landing on runway 5. I don't know that we need the VOR to runway 5. Let's do the RNAV. RNAV-Y. And let me just take a peek real quick while I got it up over here. Let me take a look at the RNAV-Y. Runway 5 approach. There it is. Pulling it up over here. And MA514. Yep, that looks like the perfect spot for our transition. So we're going to grab that. And I'm just going to highlight that over here and set my charts back to where I need them at. There we go. And that should all be good. Go back to route, activate, execute. Now, go to our legs page. And here's our departure out to OBESA, LIDRO. And then you see, here we go again. Here's the discontinuity, right? So this is where I had to crash the desktop last time because we want to go out to LIDRO. So I'm going to grab that. And I'm going to put it right here where LIDRO is. Now hopefully when I execute this, I don't get a crash to desktop. Hey, it didn't crash at least, so that's good. And then from there, it's all MA waypoints. All the way to MA514, which starts us on our arrival. And then it's got us holding there, which is interesting. Now we've got plenty of time in the flight, and I will try to remember to actually record when I add the other waypoints in there. So that takes care of that at least. So back to our route page and performance initialization. And fuel, that's correct. That's about the amount of fuel we put in, 35,000 pounds. Remember, if we go over here to menu, maybe. Oh, that's interesting. This is different. Let's see if it does. Does it do anything if I click on here? It does not. It does nothing. Options. Oh, interesting. So this is new. So you guys are kind of seeing this as I am. So there used to be, you go to menu and there was a spot right here that would, you could click on that and it would give you, yeah, so you can't get anything there. Nothing on memory. Oh, but you do have a save and load panel state. Oh, and fuel and payload. Oh, look at this. I didn't see that. Okay. Fuel, page 1. Payload, page 2. But you can't put anything in there. So maybe that's just preparation for the future. I don't know. FS options maybe. Pause at top of descent. I want that off. Wait is good. Request jetway. Oh, you can request a jetway there. Okay. So here's the problem though. Not giving us it's not giving us our zero fuel weight like it was before. So that's a bit of a problem, right? Maybe in the maintenance page. Policy, nope. You guys are seeing this as I am. This is my first time messing with it, so yeah, that's a little that's kind of frustrating. So let's try a performance request. Oh, there we go. Okay, performance request does it then. Fantastic. So let me get this back over to FMC for now. So when we go in here, if you do a performance initialization or performance request, that gave us our gross weight, zero fuel weight, and then so we've already got it. So we'll you request it now. You don't have to go find it over here. Okay, so live and learn, right? So that's an update. I like that though. Let's put 10,000 as our reserves for now. Cruise altitude is going to be flight level 380. See, you guys are learning with me. That's fantastic. And then I believe it's 0 to 999, so it should be 850 on the cost index, not 85. And now somebody made a joke about that in one of my comments a while back. They were like, "Oh, 850, that's funny," or 500, that's funny. But that's the way they're set up, if I'm not mistaken, in the real world, where you have 0 to 999 or 0 to 1,000 rather than 0 to 100. So it's already telling us insufficient fuel, so let's just change our reserves to 5. Oh, you got to clear that out first, and hopefully that'll help get rid of that message for now, and that takes care of that. So over to the takeoff page then. Flaps for us. So I did use TopCat on this one. Let me just pull it up over here and look at it. So TopCat says flaps 5 and normal takeoff thrust. So flaps 5, and then center of gravity. Can we click on it? No, but what if we do takeoff data request? No, it's not giving us that either. So now we can't get the center of gravity, guys. We need the center of gravity. It's probably, based on my previous flights, I'm going to guess it's probably in the neighborhood of, what was it, 28 before? I'm guessing, but let's go with 28 for now. That's probably pretty close. Hopefully that's right. But a little frustrating there, because obviously we need our center of gravity and I need to know where I can get that at, right? So I'm just looking over here, wondering if there's anything in here that might give us that information. Sensors, discretes, IRS monitor, cross load, none of that does anything right now. So yeah, unfortunately I don't think there's anything we can do with that. So we're going to have to suck it up for now and hope that we're at least close on that. And we'll go ahead and grab our V speeds at 138, 141, and 146. And again, I'm really guessing on the center of gravity, and if one of you is thinking to yourself, "Oh, it's not even close," my apologies, but I don't know how to calculate. I mean, I know how to calculate center of gravity, I do, but you know, that's a very long process for an airplane this size. It really is. So they use, I'm sure they have a tool or something they use, but unfortunately I don't have that. So it is what it is, but there we go. That takes care of our flight planning in the FMC. Alright, moving on then. The next thing we want to do is actually check our flight plan. So if you go down here to the IFAS, roll this guy to plan, and then what we can do is we can pop this up, hop down here, and again, using the IFAS you can adjust your range. So we're zoomed in pretty close here. We can zoom that out a little bit, and all we want to do here is go to our legs page and step through our flight plan and make sure not only that there are no discontinuities, but that everything makes sense, right? So if I have a waypoint here, and then the next waypoint is back here, and then the next one is over here, then we'd want to get rid of that one, right? But it looks like we're pretty good to go here. So then as we get in close here, you can see it gets pretty crazy. And actually, looking at this now, we're not going to have to add anything to our flight plan, right? So MA 514 is where we start our approach, right, or our transition to our approach. So this is MA 532, that would be just off the end of runway 23, and then we hang a left and we come out here to MA 14, and then so look at what happens here. There's MA 514, I said 14, it's MA 514, and then from there we're going to come back around to MA 512, right? So MA 514, and then it swings around to MA 512. So the holdout here is actually for the missed approach. And that's kind of weird the way that's set up from the direction we're coming at. So we might even just do a hold right there at MA 514, just to, you know, if we did a hold with left-hand turns, then that would set us up perfectly for that approach, right? So what I could do is I could say, let's grab MA 514. So let's go back one page, grab MA 514. We'll step back up here so you guys can see it, and then click on your hold here, and so you can see it's already got us holding at MA 514, but after the fact, right? So we want to add another one. So let's go next hold, and we'll put it in right here, MA 514, and let's see if this works right. So it's got us making right turns. I want to set it up as left turns. So if I hit the slash key and then the L, everything, I'll leave the rest of this the same, right? The inbound course and everything will stay the same. So just do that, make it a left turn there, and then execute, right? go back to our legs page, and let's step out there a little bit. Okay, so there's MA 514 right there, and it should show a hold as our. See, you've got two holds here now. One is for the missed approach, and the other one is for us. Now here's where I messed up though. So you see the inbound course is 213 degrees here, right? And so that's going to cause us a problem because we're going to be making left-hand turns this way, and we still got to make that crazy turn to come back here. So really, we want the inbound course to be the back course of 213 degrees. So now I got to try and think about that in my head. So if this is 213 degrees here, we actually want left-hand turns going the opposite direction, which would be, hold on, my brain doesn't want to work. That would be 13 plus 20 degrees, right? Yeah, because hold on, my brain's not. I hate doing math in my head. Okay, so we want to do 180 degrees opposite of what it's set right now. We're at 213. So if you just subtract 200 degrees, that puts you at 13 degrees. But you got to add 20 back. And for those of you who don't understand how I'm doing that, that's just how the math works in my head. So that would be 33 degrees. So what we actually need to do is go back into our hold page. Okay, and this is hold 1 of 2, so this is for the go around, right? No, it's not. This is our left turns here. So we want this to be 33 degrees. So we go 033 slash and leave that as a left turn. There we go, and that should fix it. So let's check it right now. Yep, there we go. So what's going to happen now is when we come to MA14, we're going to come in over here, and then it's going to do a little teardrop entry and start making left-hand turns, and when we exit the hold, we'll exit straight to MA 512. Does that make sense to everybody? If you're confused by that, throw something down in the comments and I'll try and help you out. And then we'll follow these in, and then bam, on to short final, and there we go. Okay, so that was a little longer than I intended for it to be, but it is what it is, and there we go. So let's put this back to the takeoff page here. There we go. Jump back over here, and let me take a look at my checklist. Alright. Ground control, we don't need to worry about that right now, but I am still in the market for a good ATC program that will not only provide good ATC service, but that will control my AI traffic through Ultimate Traffic Live. So if somebody knows one, let me know. Moving on. Squawk code needs to be set. You guys know it's going to be 2336 for us. Sounds like there's another airplane firing up out there. And let's go ahead and test the TCAS there. While that's happening, the altimeters need to be set, and I haven't even checked those yet.
TCAS test passed.
I should probably write down the weather, right? I told you, I always forget unless I write it down. Okay, EGPF weather is 230 at 8 knots, 230/8. The altimeter is 2947, and the temperature is going to be 2 degrees Celsius, and it is wet, so we're definitely going to need anti-ice. So 2947 on the altimeter. You can just hit the what do you call it? The Bravo key or B key, and that'll set them for you. I'm gonna just set this one 2947-ish right there, and you see this one's not set yet. And then if I hit the Bravo key, so that set that one as well, and it set the one over here. Actually, it's over. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, there it is right there. I'm looking at this going, where's my knobs? No, it's over here. Okay, so that set all of our altimeters. What's next on the list? Flight directors need to come on. And let's see. Flight directors on. Auto throttle stays off right now. This is something, it's different depending on the aircraft you're in. So I usually arm the auto throttle now, but I'm not going to. V2, enter V2 into the speed up here. Now I do V2 plus 5. 146, so plus 5 is 151. Now there's some debate about this. Typically the manufacturer says V2 is what you need to put in here. It's my understanding, at least with Boeing aircraft, that the aircraft should automatically accelerate to V2 because it's going to be on auto throttle, right? So it should accelerate to V2 plus 20. But depending on what company you fly with, they might have you put in V2 plus 5, 10, or 20 or something like that, or just put V2. So I just do V2 plus 5. That's Captain Mac policy, alright? Alright. Moving on. Heading needs to be set to runway heading, which is going to be, we're taking runway 23, so it's going to be 230 degrees. So let's set that in here. Some good lightning out there, huh? We're going to have to definitely use that weather radar. 230 degrees on there. Altitude. Let me take a quick look at our departure here and just see if there's any major altitude restrictions. There are. Between 5 and 6,000, and then at 6,000 at TRN. So let's look down here and see if those are in our legs page. So at or above 5,000, 6,000, 6,000, and then so on. And then transition altitude is 6,000 feet. So I'm going to put it all the way up and allow the FMC to control it, and hopefully everything's working right and the FMC will not overshoot our altitude restrictions. So we're going to set this all the way up to flight level 380. Oh, there we go. So remember, the longer you scroll these, the faster they go, and so it can be easy to jump past those there. Okay, what do we got next? Not worried about the clock. We do need to set the auto brakes to RTO. That's these guys down here. ICUS, it says to check for messages, but I mean, there's nothing to check right now because there's tons of messages on there. Flap indicator should be at 0. It's 0 there. It's 0 there. That's where they're supposed to be. Flap override switch is normal and blank. Those are down here. Those are good. Landing gear down in 3 green. Alternate gear switch guarded and off. That's that one there. And then parking brake. Make sure it's set. It is. Spoilers are down. Throttles are closed. Fuel control switches are supposed to be cut off. They were not. Interestingly enough, the engines were off, but the fuel control switches were not. They are now. Trim settings. Can't set those yet because we don't have hydraulics, but I did add that at a later point in the checklist so that we don't forget it, because I forgot a couple of times. And that takes us up to our engine start and pushback procedures. Alrighty then, so once again I had to reset GSX because it was waiting to finish loading for some reason, and I think I know what the problem was. So even though, now it's not out here right now, but even though it only showed a stairway out here, I think it wanted me to open the main door as well, which it does that to me a lot, and I have no idea why. I think there's something you're supposed to do, some profile you're supposed to load in GSX or something. I've seen it pop up a couple times in the forums, but I've never really paid much attention to it. So I think that's probably why. So I reset it, not the end of the world. So let's go ahead and request pushback and departure now. So prepare for push. You know what? Hold on, before I do that real quick, I need to make sure where I'm at, right? So let's look at our top-down view. We're going to runway 23. Interestingly enough, there's 2 runways here, but on my charts there is not. So that's kind of strange. But anyway, we're going to be going to this runway up here. So nose to the left and tail to the right will work for us. So, oops. No. I want to cancel that. Oh, shoot. I just selected the wrong thing here. Yeah, I accidentally requested deboarding by pressing the 1 key. My bad. Okay, one more time here. Maybe GSX. Oh, now GSX doesn't want to pop up. What is that all about? Oh, I'm dying a slow, miserable death here, you guys. Let's try popping it up this way. Add-ons, GSX, show, nothing. Great. So now I'm gonna have to fight with GSX because for some reason it doesn't want to pop up. That's fantastic. So I'm gonna figure that out and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so GSX is completely crapped out on me now. It doesn't even show up in the menu anymore. It's just gone all of a sudden. I have no stinking clue why. None whatsoever. So, it is what it is. Parking brake is set. Remove wheel chocks. Parking brake did not come off. Thank you very much. We're going to do a standard pushback. We need nose to go to the left. So we're going to hit Shift P and then the 1 key. So let me pop up my A cars over here and just make sure that when I release that parking brake, A car starts counting the time like it should. So click on that. Click and drag actually. And there's the time counting up. That's fantastic. That's what I want. So let's go Shift P and the number 1. And as she's starting to push back, let's see here. We got fuel pumps need to all come on. And we do have a little bit of fuel in the center tank, so those will come on as well. Red anti-collision lights need to come on. That's this one down here. Stabilizer trim, we still can't set it yet. Doors are closed. We've essentially got our clearance. Parking brake is off, and that takes us into actually starting the engines. Let's just make sure it's going to turn in the right direction here. I don't know if it will or not. So you can see we've got it over here on the number 2 starter. We're going to start with engine number 2, so we're going to left click this guy here, just like that. And it's not going to work right now because, is it working? No, and it shouldn't be because the packs are on. And it's turning us the wrong way. So Shift P, we'll just flip a U-turn from here. Put the, boy, I just, sometimes this can just be frustrating, can it, guys? Okay. Okay, because I went right past it. Right under anti-collision lights says turn the packs off. My bad, I didn't turn the packs off. Stabilizer trim we can't do anything about right now. Doors are closed. And now we can start our engine. So, try this again. Left click to ground. Come down here. And there we go. You can see our N2 is coming up. So that's good. Of course, we don't know if it works with GSX because GSX just completely crapped the bed on me. I have no idea why. But anyway, when that gets to 18 right there, we'll go ahead and introduce fuel. And let's see how the engine spool up goes now. That's one of the things they fixed. They said they made it better. They didn't say they necessarily fixed it. But you can see there, the engines are spooling up rather than just going straight to whatever the percentage was. So that's good. Now, I don't know what the N1 is supposed to be at. Let's see. At 50% N2, the start selector should go back, which it looks like it did. And that's it. It doesn't say anything else. But it looks like the engine is stabilized there at 21.3. So let's go ahead and shrink those back down. And let's start engine number 1. That is not the engine start selector. That is. There we go. To ground. Again, waiting for N2 to get to 18%. That magenta line. There's 16, 17, and 18. And we'll fire it up. Well, that's certainly a lot better than it was before. No doubt about that. So they clearly have addressed that issue. We haven't had a CTD. I think I edited those out of previous videos, so not the end of the world there. But yeah, I think we're looking pretty good here. So we'll just wait for this engine to stabilize now. Now, I don't know how accurate that spool up is. I'm not a master of any aircraft, so you know, that may or may not be accurate, but it's certainly better than it was before. So I can appreciate that. Okay, let's go ahead, clear that out as well. Engine is stabilized now, so let's take a look at our after start flows and procedures and checklists and all that good stuff here. So generator lights up top, those should have gone off, which they have. Fantastic. Hydraulics need to come on, so it goes right electric, 1 and 2 center, or center 1 and 2, and then left electric. Alright, moving on. APU bleed needs to come off. That's this one here. APU needs to come off. Left click that one there. Engine anti-ice on under 10 degrees Celsius. So engine anti-ice, but we can't do the wing anti-ice yet. I've learned that one. Isolation switch off. There we go. Packs to auto. Left and right packs both to auto. Auto brake selector is already on RTO, so I don't know why it's on here again. I guess you can double check it. It is on RTO. ICAS messages, clear and cancel. So recall, TCAS off, and parking brake. Those are expected. Other than that, we're good. Logo light should come on. Logo light is on. Kind of back and forth there. Runway turnoff lights both go on. So you got taxi light, and then left and right runway turnoff lights will come on. Nose wheel landing light also comes on. So that's that one there. And that would complete our push and start procedure. Alrighty then, folks, let's go ahead and take care of our taxi procedures here. Taxi clearance we've already got. Taxiways are noted. You guys will see that here shortly. We don't need ground guidance. Flaps need to be set, so we're going flaps 5. So if we zip over here real quick, you can see that that's setting number 2. So there's flaps 5 there. And what else we got over here? Trim. So I wrote this in here myself. So the trim needs to be 3.60, it looks like. So we'll zip down here and bring this way down here. And there's 3, just beyond 3.5 should work just fine for us. And then we need to arm LNAV and VNAV. There we go, arm both of those. And we're ready to rock and roll. And this is going to be quite the storm here. I need to remember to turn on the weather radar. Okay, so track hour coming on, little jump here. Boom, big jump actually, I lied. And make sure throttles are both working properly. They are. Get the mouse up out of the way there, take the brake off, and away we go. Now we need to hang a left here if the aircraft gets moving. She's not that heavy. I mean, it's heavy, but it's not that heavy. Okay, there we go. We're going to get moving here. Maybe. Oh, stop with the already with the reverse thrust. Already. Okay. Bring that back here a little bit. Alright, why don't we go ahead and take care of our taxi and departure briefing here, and then I will see you guys back on here when we're holding short of the runway. There was a little taxiway marking there. Did you see that? Almost ran into it. Interesting place for that. You gotta love default scenery. Okay, taxi and departure briefing, please. Alright, taking a look at our taxi brief first and foremost here. Runway 23 for departure down at this end here. We're right off the end of the international pier, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually take Golf, taxiway Golf, all the way down here to Alpha, and then we'll follow Alpha all the way down to Alpha 1 for our hold short point. That is a hot spot right there. It's listed as hot spot number 1. It says caution when Cat 2 and 3 holds A2 and G2 are in use. Stop bar will be deselected and lead on lights. Not really sure what that means, but basically I think what it's getting at is this is the ILS hold short line here. We'll probably move up to the normal hold short here. So I don't think that'll be a problem for us today, although the weather is quite lovely. Let's take a look at our departure briefing. There it is. So we're going to be taking the TRN or Turn 3A departure today. So coming out of runway 23 here, it's straight out to 12 nautical miles from Glasgow VOR, and we need to be at between 5,000 and 6,000 feet there, and then another 2 miles to 14 nautical miles out. We need to be at 6,000 feet there, and then it's a left turn out to TRN again at 6,000 feet, and then on course from there. So pretty straightforward. Transition altitude is 6,000 feet for us. Airport elevation is 26 feet, and the weather is going to be all kinds of fun on this departure. Alrighty folks, you can see the rain is kicked back in. That's going to make this fun and interesting. Let's take care of our hold point information or procedures here. We've got our takeoff clearance. Landing lights need to come on. That's these two here. These guys need to come on as well. That's the white anti-collision and the strobe lights. And the wing lights, I guess. Where's the strobe lights at on this one? I don't know. Maybe that's what the white anti-collisions are on this. I don't know. Maybe somebody can help me out with that a little bit. Wing lights are on. Transponder needs to go to TARA. There we go. Let's hit the weather mode here. We want weather to show up on our nav display here. Can't get my brain to function. And then it says position and hold and arm the auto throttle. So arm the auto throttle. Hit the toga button here because that's what we're using as normal takeoff. Double check and make sure our approach path is clear. I'm going to zip over here and take a look real quick because we did have an aircraft landing while we were taxiing up here. I don't see anybody else out there, so I think we're good. Track hour coming on, little jump. Boom, there it is. And let's go ahead and get her out here on the road. Ooh, look at that weather straight ahead of us. That weather is ugly. Alright, as we're starting to inch it forward here, our takeoff procedure is pretty straightforward. Auto throttle is going to be on, which it already is. Thrust levers, forward, parking brake release, blah, blah, blah. 80 knots, V1, rotate, all of that stuff. Ooh, boy, she came on there quick, didn't she? Alright, let's get her centered up here. Come on, all the way around. Now, if you haven't had the opportunity, if you don't have VR, I got it recently, and I got to tell you, it looks just amazing. It really feels like you're sitting on the flight deck. Like a video can't do it justice. And I'm sure you're thinking, well, you need to make a video. Well, easier said than done. I got to figure out how to do the capture properly for a video. And so when I do, I certainly will. But I also need to figure out how to get the frame rate squared away. So. But once I figure all of that out, then I will definitely start doing some videos in VR. But right now, like, my frame rates are just junk. And, you know, I just noticed that my little counter thing, my little FPS thing, isn't showing up over here, which is a little frustrating. For some reason, the latest update to the Shadow Play is showing this as just a window, desktop window rather than a game. So there's no FPS counter. But anyway, FPS are looking good. Okay, enough talky talk. Let's get this going here. Let's bring the throttles up a little bit. Notice, here's something interesting. Notice that the EPR isn't moving at all. So we have no idea what our actual engine performance rating is. The EPR is not moving. So there's another bug for you, Captain Sim. The EPR is not moving. It's just showing, it's just staying at 1.01 and 1.02. That can't be correct. Okay, brakes off, and let's go to takeoff thrust. And you can see we got tons of weather out there. It's ugly, but it's it looks like we'll probably be all right. We're going to find out for sure, though. All right, we're looking good here. Hands are still on the throttles. We're past 80 knots there. Trying to get her centered up. Coming up on V1. There's V1. Rotate. And up, up, and away. And I'm looking right now, first of all, gear coming up, and it looks like they did do some improvement to the flight director as well. I can see it a little better, so that's good. Ooh, that is some ugly weather, folks. Alright, looking pretty good here as we start to climb out. Let me pop this up so you guys can see it just a little bit here. So you can see straight out there for a little over 10 miles before we make our left turn. And you can see some lightning and some thunderstorms dead ahead there. So those are definitely, they're ugly, but the worst of it, so let me pop that back up. So you see the worst of it is kind of right over here off to the side. This stuff, it's semi-tolerable. It's kind of weird the way that's streaked like that though, right? Whoa, what happened with our speed there? Oh, come on. Oh, the EPR, oh, look at that. You know what? We need to go to autopilot here. Autopilot on. Okay, let's hope that squares away the thrust as well. We need to go to climb thrust. That's not doing anything for the thrust. So look at our thrust isn't going up. We might need to cycle the... Oh my goodness, that is some rough weather, guys. This is a rough ride here. I need the auto throttle to do its job. Try that again. Turn the VNAV off and back on. There we go. Now the auto throttle will hopefully do its job. Let's pop this up. Yeah, auto throttle should be kicking in now. Ooh, look at that. Let's get that first setting of flaps out. That is some rough weather, folks. Track hire coming off a little jump here. Boy, I'd be terrified if I was on this flight right now. That is something else. And look, see, like we're way over speed right now. What's going on here? Look at our speed. We're up to 300 knots. First of all, let's get that next setting of flaps out before we damage the aircraft. And we're descending. Why are we descending? Okay. I've got spoilers out. I've got full spoilers right now. And she's descending at 6,000 feet per minute. Why? Okay, we're too high, obviously, but what is going on here? Are the spoilers even working? Spoilers are out. But look, the thrust is like at full. Okay. Auto throttle off. Thrust back. Holy cow. Like, this airplane would be coming apart right now. It's not... Look, it's supposed to go to 6,000 feet. It's not doing it. Instead, it's continuing to descend. Oh, now it wants to try and climb. Holy cow. What is going on? I mean, I know the weather's bad, but like look at the... Holy cow. What are we doing here? Climb. Okay, vertical speed plus 100, that's it? How about we get up to about plus 2,500? Let's try that for now and see if that helps out a little bit. My goodness. Boy, we're getting torn up right now. I mean, I know the weather's bad. I even have the turbulence and stuff turned down a bit, but all that track IR is off. All that bouncing around is just the aircraft. I mean, that's how bad these turbulence are right now. This aircraft would be coming apart. In reality, this aircraft would be coming from together right now, folks. This is way too much. Look at our speed. 430 knots. I've got the throttles all the way back. And I've got the speed brakes all the way out. See this right now? Speed brakes all the way out, throttles all the way back. It still keeps descending. We're trying to get it to climb here. Go back to VNAV mode. There we go. Climb. See if that does anything. Nope, still nothing. The turbulence are just so bad that the aircraft doesn't even want to climb. We can't get the speed to come down right now. It's just horrendous, which is a little crazy that it's doing that. Like, we're at 400 knots, you guys. Look at this. We're at 400 knots. And the speed just doesn't want to come down. The aircraft doesn't want to climb. This is atrocious. This has got to be the worst. I mean, this is unbelievable. Oh, there's the speed finally come down. Looks like we got out of some of the turbulence. Now she's climbing. Holy cow. That is absolutely nuts. Okay, let's try the auto throttle again. Wow. On the one hand, I want to say I'm a little embarrassed by that. But at the same time, what could I do? What could I do? I mean, the weather was just kicking the crap out of it. I tried to do it by hand. I couldn't do it. And the autopilot obviously couldn't keep up with it either. Now, I don't know how realistic that is, but I know in some rough weather, the autopilot's supposed to come off. So, I don't know, but that was kind of ugly, you guys. That was really ugly, actually. I probably got so many overspeed. My PIREP will probably be rejected on this flight because I got so many overspeed warnings. Oh my goodness. And there's still weather ahead of us. I mean, we still got more. So let's see how she does. We're at 6,000 now. Boy, holding at 6,000 is just nuts here. Will it go to... It won't go to standard. So at 6,000 is transition altitude. So this needs to go to standard. So 299 or 2. I'm actually afraid to do that right now because it's going to start doing one of those crazy descents again, because if I bring it up, then it's going to show the altitude higher and it's going to try to descend. So I'm going to leave it where it's at for the moment because that's just nuts. And let's go ahead, let's take care of our after takeoff procedures and checklist here. So landing and taxi lights will come off once we get above 10,000. Engine and wing anti-ice, we definitely need to put the wing anti-ice on. I probably should have done that right after takeoff. And what else we got here? That's it, actually, folks. And so, well, we're going to see how it goes, but let's go ahead and dive right into some of that obligatory elevator music and hope that the aircraft does all right. Boy, how about that weather on departure, huh? That was absolutely insane. I actually flew it a second time because I had to restart the flight to get the second half of it done. So I set the weather the same, flew it again, and ultimately had the exact same issues. I tried to control the speed and everything, and it just wasn't happening, guys. It was absolutely crazy. But really good time. I'm doing the arrival briefing a little early because we still got all this weather around us, and I just wanted you guys to get an opportunity to see a little bit of it. But we're coming in from out here on the Lidro 1C arrival out here at Lidro at or above 4,000 feet, down to MA 536, and from there to MA 534, 532, max 250 knots there. We need to be at or above 3,000 feet. Now from 532, we're actually going to scoot all the way out here to 514, and then we're going to enter a hold there in preparation for our approach, and you're going to see why we're doing that when we get to the approach briefing. So other than that, it's pretty straightforward, and we got some fun wins, so it's going to be a good time. ATIS is going to be on 130.350, and the airport elevation is at 191 feet. Alrighty folks, we're going to be on the top of the descent here pretty quick, and of course we've got that good old-fashioned housekeeping to do. First thing I like to do is go ahead and adjust my MCP altitude, and I want to do this especially this time because there's something I messed up earlier I want to show to you guys. And so in case I get to talking too much, this is a Boeing aircraft. Boeing aircraft should start the descent on time without any further input from us. If it was Airbus, we'd need to keep an eye on it, make sure we click the button. But that's not the case here. Now I want to hop down here, and in preparation for our descent, we've got to grab our airport information, which we've already done, and then we set up the approach. And I've already set up the approach in there for runway 5. We talked about that on departure, and that looks fantastic. But here's what I want to show you. Let me grab this guy and bring it over here real quick. And let me change this to the plan mode. Zoom this all the way down, and let's step through this real quick. So I messed up on the hold point, right? So you can see that both the holds are overlapping each other now. The smaller one here is for the go-around. The larger one is our hold for setting up for the approach. Now, it's not a requirement to have a hold there. I set the hold up to make it a little easier because we're coming from over here, and I didn't want to try and make the turn from here to MA512. We would have circled way out here. And when we do the approach briefing, you're going to see why it's really important that we don't circle way out here on that approach. So as long as we're in the hold, we're fine. But it's a left-hand turn, and the original hold was a left-hand turn as well. So I messed up the inbound course. First of all, the inbound course is 25 degrees. And if you go to our holds page here, you can see we've got two holds, and they're both identical. Okay, this one's 1 minute legs here. Speed is 200 knots at 3,000 feet. And then if we go to the next page, you see we're on page 2 of 2 now. See, the hold is identical, but the speed target is different. Okay, so which speed? I got myself confused since both hold points are at the same point. But either way, we should start holding when we come inbound. And if we go back to our legs page here, you can see it shows us MA514 at 240 knots here, and then MA514 200 here. So the smaller one is actually our hold in preparation for the approach, and then the larger one is our hold in preparation, or if we have to do a missed approach, right? So MA514, this is our hold right here, hold at MA514. And then it shows MA514 as a waypoint. So when we exit the hold, we'll try to exit the hold right in here somewhere, so it goes to MA514, 512, and so on. And then when we do the approach briefing, you'll see why it's really important that we don't make this big loop to get around to MA512, because if we do that, then we're going to have to loop to get over here and kind of do this, and that's not going to work for us. You'll see why. Okay, enough talk about that. Let's put that back on map mode. Zoom it out a little bit here. You can see we're almost on the top of the descent there. Let's get that out of the way, and let's take a look at the rest of our descent procedures. Oh, we need to actually go back down here because we need to choose our approach reference. So click on initial reference. Again, we've already put the approach into the FMC, so we don't need to do that. We're going to land flaps 30, 122 knots, and it's going to be pretty wild going in there. Oh, what did it do? Did it just... Oh, it's got the pause at top of descent turned on. I thought I turned it... in fact, I did turn it off, but apparently it turns back on when you reload the aircraft. So either way, that's fine. So flaps 30, 122 knots is going to be our landing speed. So our approach speed is going to be 127 knots. And we'll leave that up there so that we can see it. That takes care of that. We've already reset the altitude. We're going to be using auto brakes 3. Let me zoom down here where you can see it nice and close. Auto brakes 3. I don't think we're going to need more than that because we're coming in really nice and slow, but I definitely want those brakes to kick in and slow us down quickly as well. It's not an extremely long runway. In fact, let me just look at my chart over here and just double check the runway length. There it is. Runway length is 9,124 feet. So it is actually quite long, but I've got a surprise for you. Let me hop this back up over here. Our wind is 360 at 16 knots. So the wind is going to be coming quite strong off of the left side, coming down over the mountain, which means it's going to be a little gusty, and it's going to make for a pretty tough approach, which is typical of Madeira Airport, and one of the reasons we chose it as a destination of the month, of course. And so I'm actually looking forward to the approach, but you know, there's every possibility we'll land a little long, and so if we do, I'd like to be prepared with those auto brakes. So, okay, auto brakes are set, spoiler is up, altimeter will be readjusted once we get below 18,000. Now, actually, transition altitude here is 5,000 feet. So we shouldn't adjust the altimeter until we get below 5,000 feet. And that's the gist of it, other than lights and stuff when we get below 10,000. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to roll right into the approach briefing. You're going to see just how this approach is set up and why we decided to do the hold before actually going on to the approach, and all of the fun stuff that comes with that. So good times. Let's do that now. Alright, our approach then is going to be the RNP or RNAV, and I'll explain why it can be either really here in just a minute. It is the RNP, but often referred to as RNAV. Y approach, RNPY approach for runway 5. ATIS is a 130.350, Madeira approach on 119.6, and Tower on 18.35. It is an RNAV approach. Final approach course is 050 degrees. Mandatory altitude at MA 508 is 2,000 feet, and the RNP requirement is 0.10 nautical miles. We'll explain that in a minute. Airport elevation 191 feet with a runway at 144 feet. If we have to perform a missed approach, we're going to climb to 3,000 feet to MA 514, which is out here, following, however, 550, 552, and 554. So this is our track to get back to 514, and then we would join the hold there or as directed by ATC. If there's a comm failure, it's the same thing except you squawk 7600, you do one circuit around the hold and then do the approach again. So let's take a look at this approach and let's come to understand what's going on. We're actually coming in from out over here, and when we get to MA 514, we're going to 512. Well, we're not going to do that. We're going to enter the hold first. It's a left-hand pattern, and we're going to do at least one trip around this pattern so that it sets us up for a direct crossover of 514 to 512. Why are we worried about that? Well, it has to do with this down here. This is what RNP is all about. It's required navigation performance. It's very similar to RNAV, except there's tight restrictions on how far left or right of the center line of the course you can be. In our case, we're flying the standard approach, and we're required to have an RNP, a required navigation performance of 0.10 nautical miles until MA 552. So that means from here to here, MA 508, 504, 502, 550, 552. Anywhere in there, we must meet this required navigation performance of 0.10 nautical miles, which is approximately 670 feet left or right of the center line. That's what an RNP approach is. Basically, the long and short of it is you can't go any further than that required distance right there. We must stay within 670 feet left or right of the center line of this course in order to fly this approach. So I saw a question pop up a while ago, what is RNP? That's what it is right there. It's a required navigation performance, a tight restriction on the lateral movement along this track here. So as far as the rest of the approach goes, it's pretty straightforward. We must be at 2,000 feet between 510 and 508. It's a mandatory 2,000 feet there, so we need to meet that. And then you can see this little inset here shows that we're basically going to be following the coastline on the way in. There will be some lights there that help guide us in, and then on in from there. Our decision altitude is 500 feet. I guarantee I'm going to forget to set it because I'm going to be busy doing other things, but y'all get the point. Alright folks, as you can see, we're on our outbound leg of the hold here, and as we circle around on this next trip around here, we're going to go ahead and exit the hold. Now, typically you should be able to go in here, and I haven't tried it yet. Yeah, we should be able to just click on exit hold, and that should take us straight to the next waypoint. Now we're going to find out if that works or not, and if not, we're going to try and be pretty quick on the keys there to switch it up. Now I came on just a skosh early because I wanted to mention a couple things. First of all, when we first crossed over MA514, I don't know why I keep saying MS. When we first crossed over MA514, we were still at about 8,000 feet, and in VNAV mode, the aircraft like made a nosedive for 3,000 feet. It was really weird. The VNAV profile was just, it was really strange that it did that. I actually had to take control of it myself and control the vertical speed because it was descending at almost 8,000 feet per minute, which is going to be a warning on my PyRep as well. You can also see that it doesn't really hold all that well. It's doing all right, but we were inside the hold, and I don't think it accounts for the wind. So we're probably going to end up, we'll see, but we may end up a little outside the line as we come around this turn because we've got a 23 knot wind pushing us in this direction here, which is going to make it so that we're going to most likely go a little wide. So it doesn't seem to calculate the wind as it goes into the hold. But that's all right. That's not going to be too big of a deal for us. We're at 200 knots right now, 3,000 feet. And as we complete the turn here, I want to go ahead and exit the hold. So we'll just let it get a little further around here. And then we're going to use the exit hold mode, and hopefully that will work just fine. We're going to find out for certain here in about 10 more seconds. So we'll see what happens. Looks like it actually carried the line pretty well coming around the corner there. Okay, let's go ahead and click on exit hold, execute, and let's see what it's doing now. So we exit armed. So it should go to MA514. Let me pop this up. I actually had it up over here already. So it looks like it's going to go direct to MA514 now. Hopefully that works out fine. We'll keep a close eye on it here for a minute and just make sure that that's going to do exactly what we want it to, and that it's going to exit. I mean, that's the key, right? Obviously, we need it to exit the hold. We don't want it to continue around. I certainly don't want it to come over here and then try and come back. If it does, then I'm going to take control of the heading using the heading mode here and go from there. In fact, for the moment, we can change this to 050, right? Maybe. There we go. Because that's going to be our landing direction. So we'll change that to 050. There's a couple, some people say, no, keep it on the heading you're headed at right now. So, I mean, technically we could keep it at 026 here. My only concern with that is it can be difficult to get the opportunity to change it, right? Let's see. Let's make this 2,000 feet. And we'll use our vertical speed to descend to 2,000 feet. We need to be there by the time we get to MA510. And it looks like it's going to cross on over MA514 here, I think. Let's see. Let's watch it for a second. Yep, crossing over MA514. So let's use our vertical speed mode here, and we'll descend about 800 feet per minute. Let's start with that and see if that should get us down 1,000 feet before we get to MA510. And then we need to hold at 2,000 feet until we get to MA508. And then from there we can start to descend a little bit further. We're doing 200 knots right now. I'm going to bring this down to 180. Let me get this out of the way here now. Bring in that next setting of flaps. Hopefully we're not over the flap speed right now. I don't think we are. And then between MA510 and 508 is 4 miles. We're pretty close now, actually. You can just see the mountains in the background. Of course, we can't see the airfield yet, but that's all right. So getting down to 2,000 feet, looking pretty good on everything here. And then when we cross over MA508, I'm going to go ahead and drop the landing gear and start setting up for the final approach there. So we're going to be looking at a ground speed of, we're at 162 knots right now. So if we descend at 850 feet per minute, that'd be spot on. The only problem with that is we can't tune this to 850. We can only tune it to 800. So we'll probably descend at 800 for a little bit, and then we'll go from there. We'll decide from there I'll probably just take control because that MA 504 needs to be at 890 feet. And then we'll probably just go ahead and kick off the autopilot and go from there. So right now we're crossing over. I'm going to pop this back up just so it's a little easier for me to see over here. There we go. A little stutter from that. Sorry. So we're crossing over 510 now. So between here and 508 we need to stay at 2,000 feet. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lower this down to 900 feet. And then we'll use our vertical speed. We'll go at 800 feet per minute to start with, because we're going to be slowing down a little anyway. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and bring our speed down to 160. That's 159. 160. Drop the landing gear and bring in that next setting of flaps. You can see the airport over there, and you can see the aircraft's kind of kicking around with these gusting winds out here, so it's going to definitely be an interesting approach. So almost at MA 508 right now. And then from there we'll descend down, but we won't go below 900 feet on autopilot. So I think this will work fine. Our ground speed's coming down to 146 knots, which would be about 750 feet, give or take a little. So 800 feet should actually work quite well for us. So we're just about ready to start that descent. It's imperative that we stay at 2,000 feet or above until we cross 508. So we're just waiting until we cross that, and you can see the airplane yawing back and forth from the shifting winds. And we're basically going to follow this coastline around here. I have never flown this approach before. Never. Not one time have I ever flown this approach. So there's the crossover there. So 800 feet should work for us. And that'll take us down to 900 feet. Really, it's 890. But basically what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of letting the aircraft settle a little bit. Let's go ahead and, matter of fact, let's reduce our speed here. So we need to be at 127. So let's bring this down to 127. And that's going to put our ground speed really low. So let's bring this up 500 feet per minute for the moment. And that'll probably be pretty close there. Maybe 600 is what we need. Bring that next setting of flaps in as we're slowing down here. We want to get those flaps all the way in. Let's go ahead and arm the spoilers. Landing gear is down, 3 green. Auto brakes are set. Let's see. Spoiler is armed. Flaps down, gear down. No ILS on this one. Let's go track IR coming on. A little jump here. Boom. There it is. All right, we're looking good. I'm going to let it continue descending on the autopilot just for the moment here. And I'm actually a little nervous about this approach. So at 504, we need to be at 890 feet. And we're coming up on 504 pretty quick. We're not descending quite fast enough. So let's descend a little faster here. And we can just make it out there. You can see we're a little bit high here. Okay, let's go ahead and kick the autopilot off now. There we go. Autopilot's off. Auto throttles are still on. Let's get that out of the way for the moment. Now we're coming on the glide slope here, looking pretty good. And you can see the lights on the ground there. We're following those lights around, okay? So we're looking good. We don't really want to descend much faster than we are right now. We're descending at a pretty good rate. Our speed is good. And as we start to turn, it's going to want to descend a little bit faster, so we need to keep an eye on that. Oh yeah, we're looking beautiful here, guys. Look at this. Maybe just a little bit inside the turn there. Gusty winds are going to make it a little more difficult. There we go. Turn her on to final here. She's going to want to drop over. The nose is going to want to go down when you do that. Okay, and then I'm going to line up just a hair to the left here because I've got strong winds coming off that left side. And I'm going to let those kind of push us over. Let's go ahead and kick that auto throttle off now. There we go. And let's take control of those throttles. We're just a hair low here. There's that wind. See, that wind really took us, didn't it? All right, looking pretty good though.
150, 40, 30.
Come on. Floated her a little. Little rough on the landing. Not too bad, though. I don't even think we really needed reverse. We were going so slow. I'll check that landing rate here in a sec. There's 80 knots. Take the reverse out. Take control of the auto brakes ourselves, so that disarms them. Boy, that wind's strong over there, isn't it? It'll give us our landing rate here. Oh yeah, that landing was a little rough, guys. I'm a little embarrassed by that one. Let's get over here real quick, and then the landing rate was, let's get a little throttle in there, minus 228. Now, actually, it was going really smooth, and then what I did there is I cut the throttles, and then when I cut throttles at about 20 feet, which is about right for this aircraft, I pulled back a little too soon, so I bled off the speed a little too quick, and by doing that, what happened was then it just sort of dropped that last 10 feet there, and that's what made for that landing. Now, in actuality, let me just get around the corner here, and we'll take care of landing lights and all that. In actuality, about 220 feet per minute is about 2 nautical miles per hour. So our landing rate was about 2 miles per hour. So imagine you're in a car and you bump into another car at 2 miles an hour. That's about how high that landing rate was. Not too terrible. Okay, so not my best, but not my worst. Let's get these guys off. These guys off. That one actually stays on. These come off. Those 3 can stay on, and we need to start the APU 1 and 2. We can take off the anti-ice. We don't need those anymore. I could have taken those off as we were descending. Let me take track guard off for just a second here. There's your little jump. Let's take care of our checklist. We need to, this is one I always forget, transponder needs to go to standby. We can actually take the flight directors off. That's supposed to get rid of these warnings on here. Let's cancel, yeah, like auto throttle disconnect. That warning should technically go away. But see, those warnings just keep coming back for whatever reason. So kind of strange that it does that. Maybe that's a glitch. I don't know. But anyway, TCAS is off. Flap set to 0. We haven't done that yet. We need to bring the spoilers down. Take care of that. Auto brakes need to go to off. They're in disarm right now. So when you press the toe brakes, it disarms the auto brakes. White anti-collision lights are off. Wing lights are off. APU has been started. And that's going to take us in here. Little jump here. I'll go ahead and start taxiing in. There's another aircraft getting ready to take off there, and then I'll hop back on here when we're ready to shut it down. Alrighty folks, we got us parking space here. Let's go ahead and take care of this parking position checklist. Parking brake is set. I just put that on. ATC contact we don't need. Engine anti-ice is off. Isolation switch needs to go on. This guy right here. APU bleed goes on. This one right here. APU gen, verify that that is on, which it is. External power on if available. Let's go ahead and grab the external power. So hit shift and 2, grab this guy right here. We can close that back out. Click external power. I got a sneeze coming in. APU can go off now. Whew. There you go. Told you I was going to sneeze. Fuel control switches to the cutoff position then. So 1 and 2. There we go. Fantastic. And let's see what else here. Red anti-collision lights can come off. That is this one right here. Seatbelt signs can go off, and we can start unloading passengers. Let me pull up GSX real quick here. Request deboarding, and they're going to ask for doors to be open. So let me shift in 3. And let's see, it's going to be the cargo doors, and then I don't know which entry doors they're going to ask for, so I'm just going to open all 3 of these for now, and hopefully nobody steps off the airplane and falls and hurts themselves. That would be bad. Okay, moving on. Primary electric pumps off. We can just hop to the overhead here. So primary electric pumps go off. That's these 2 here. And then primary engine pumps will stay on. It doesn't say anything about the C1, C2 pumps for some reason, but I'm pretty sure those are supposed to go off as well, right? Fuel pump switch is off. Just go ahead and turn those off for now. I never did turn off center pumps. Doors are open. Gangways are being taken care of. Engine bleed switches off. That's these 2 over here. Packs off. 1 and 2. Recirculation fan, trim air, cargo heat, all that stuff off. These guys up here. Window heat can go off. These 4 up here. And let's see, emergency light off. We're going to leave that on while we're deboarding passengers. We're going to leave all of this set for a quick turn. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for this flight. You can see passengers getting ready to be deboarded there. It looks like maybe they're, I can't really tell from here if they're using all 3 of those doors. I don't think so. Let's go ahead and close this one here. There we go. Oh, you know what? Wheel chocks. Got to put the wheel chocks on, right? Don't want to see the building. Oh, they were using that door. They were. My bad. Okay, fantastic. So, passengers getting ready to get offloaded here. They're pulling all the baggage off. Everything's looking fantastic, other than the landing being just a wee bit on the bumpy side. I've had worse landings. I'm not overly disappointed with that one, but the approach is really interesting, isn't it? I mean, that's a tough little approach there. And I think we did pretty good on it. So I really enjoyed it. This was a great destination of the month. I was really excited to fly into here. We're definitely going to do more flights into here as well, and then we'll probably do a flight out of here pretty soon. Why not, right? I think that'll be pretty cool. So thank you all for joining me on this one. I hope that you had a good time. Please take the opportunity to smash down on that subscribe button. It takes half a second, doesn't cost you anything, and if you click on the little bell next to it, you can get notifications. There's a little competition between the notification squad to see who can be the first one to comment on a video. I enjoy it very much. Maybe eventually we'll give a prize away for that or something. But also you can like us on Facebook. I make announcements there. You can follow us on Twitter. I think all of my videos automatically get announced on Twitter. And then you can follow us on Twitch at CaptainMac3588. We live stream on both Twitch and YouTube at the same time, so it's really a lot of fun. That's going to wrap it up, folks. That's it. That's all, and no more. So, as always, keep the blue side up, unless otherwise instructed by ATC. God bless you all, and have a fantastic day.